All right. So here I'm just looking at the intersection. All right. So I can plot all the points necessary to graph the parabola and then all the points necessary to graph the line. Now, the line's not written in a particularly convenient format, so I want to clean that up a little bit. Parabola is ready to rock and roll, but the line not so much. So I'm going to subtract off a 2x. That's going to make it negative y equals, I'm going to write it as negative 2x plus 3. Divide by negative 1, and when I do that, what do I get as a result? 2x minus 3. All right. So I'm going to graph, again, the parabola and my new version of the line, all right, with the goal being to find out where they cross. Now, you can figure out pretty easily where they cross without even creating the graph. But we do need to satisfy the requirements of the question, and that is to actually plot both of them. All right. So I'm trying a new strategy here for the graphing calculator because of all the you're going to type in both equations. So you're going to select. I got to put my calculator in the right mode. Yours is already in the right mode. So type in your parabola and type in your line equations. All right, so x squared plus minus 2x plus 1, and then 2x minus 3. All right, so you're just typing that in as you would normally do, just as two separate equations.
Oh, and then you do calculate 5,
Not yet, because we need to create the graph first. All right, what you're going to do is select second graph, and that's going to bring up a bunch of coordinates. You're gonna focus on the parabola. All right, the parabola is the most important one because we need symmetry in that. All right, so your y1 column needs to be symmetrical. All right, so you're gonna scroll around until you have symmetry there, and I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. All right. Right, exactly. So you want the 1, 0 to be smack dab in the middle. All right. The 1, 0, negative 1. All right. So I'm going to create the graph using these points, or at least the reasonable ones, and then from there, I'll show you on my screen what it looks like. All right. So that's going to replay. You're going to type in both equations. So you're going to select. You got to be kidding me. I got to put my calculator in the right mode. It's working. It's just repeating everything I just said while I'm still talking. So type in your parabola and type in your line equations. All right, so x squared plus minus 2x plus 1, and then 2x minus 3.
You sound so different.
All right, so you're just typing that in as you would normally do, just as two separate equations.
Oh, and then you do calculate 5,
Not yet, because we need to create the graph first. All right, what you're going to do is select second graph, and that's going to bring up a bunch of coordinates. You're gonna focus on the parabola. All right, the parabola is the most important one because we need symmetry in that. All right, so your y1 column needs to be symmetrical. All right, so you're going to scroll around until you have symmetry there, and I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. All right. The whole thing's shaky. Right, exactly. So you want the 1, 0 to be smack dab in the middle. All right. The 1, 0, negative 1. All right. So I'm going to create the graph using these points, or at least the reasonable ones, and then from there, I'll show you on my screen what it looks like. All right. And that was me showing you on my screen what it looked like, apparently. Oh, thank you. That's wonderful.
I'm the only one.
Yeah, you were the trendsetter there. Everybody else is a bunch of followers. Hey,
Yeah, Tyler, setting transfer.
so hit second window. I did it very quickly, so I didn't explain it. But if you hit second window, it says table start and change in table. Make it 0 and 1. And then when you hit second graph and go back in, it should be normal. All right, so I have my points here. I just have to plot them all. So a video within a video. That's like 4 videos. So I'm going to focus on the x against y1. All right, this is my parabola, x against y1. I know it's hard to see on the big screen, but I have some convenient points. I got negative 2, 9. I'm going to do that in blue. So that'll give me a point there. Negative 1, 4. Point right there. 0, 1.
That also corresponds with the y2.
There should be some points that are corresponding with one another. So I'll draw my parabola, kind of, sort of, best I can. All right, clean this. Try that again. All right, so that's y equals, I already forgot, x squared minus 2x plus 1? So maybe I didn't forget. You're plotting 2 graphs on the same coordinate axis, so you do have to label in this situation.
If you just like miss a symmetry in the beginning, it just keeps going, right? It never just repeats again.
Correct.
That sucks.
All right, for the line, really all you need are 2 points and a ruler. So I got 1, negative 1. I got 2, 1. That actually happens to be a point of intersect. All right. And then I could just slap a ruler on it and go from there. All right. So let me use my ruler. Not even close.
Oh, you have a ruler tool?
That was the ruler tool.
Oh, I thought like a ruler showed up on.
Oh, is this the app that has that?
Wait, but the
It should.
equation is like 2x minus 3.
I thought
Y intercept is negative 3.
Oh, you figured out how to get this stuff?
Oh, did I plot the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Oh, 0, negative. I was looking at the wrong points. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so 0, negative 3. Then we have the 2, 1. And then any other points you want after that are fine. But again, all you need are 2 points and a ruler. So, nope. I'm just going to freehand it because
Everyone pass it down. Pass back the order.
I will not join the revolution.
Whatever you want to do. Say you wanted a ruler.
all right, so y equals 2x minus 3. All right, so we have that single intersection here. That's my intersect. I don't know why I opted to go script there for some reason. I panicked.
Whip that ahead.
All right, so my intersection point is 2, 1, right? So my solution is 2, 1. Your intersection point, or points, because you could have more than one intersection, would be your solution to the problem. All right? You need to verify your solutions by solving the system algebraically. That's where it's less interesting. No, that would be verifying it numerically. Algebraically, we actually have to use substitution. All right, so If you think back to systems of equations for linear functions,
Oh, so wait, x to the second minus 2x plus 1, so 2x minus x to the second minus 2x plus 1. Because you have to, because that's what y is. Y is x to the second minus 2x plus 1.
I may have understood what you said.
So 2x minus the equation up top.
2x minus the equation on top. Perfect, yeah. All right, so we have
All the doubters.
2x minus y equals 3.
What?
And y, so just going back to the original problem, y is equal,
Like, that's not what I said.
I know. So we had two equations, one of which was already solved for y. But what it allows us to do is replace the y in one of those equations with what y is equal to in the other equation. So this is what Barrett said. All right, we're replacing the y in one of the equations what y is equal to in the other equation. All right. Now another way you could handle it, because in the work we did in the first part of the problem, we solved for y in terms of x for the linear equation. Since they're both equal to y, they're both equal to each other. So you could actually set x squared minus 2x plus 1 equal to 2x minus 3, and then solve from there. Either way is fine because it's going to give you the same thing. The problem is I need to come away with an x value and a y value algebraically. If I don't do that, I'm going to lose some credit. Right?
4x minus x to the second, or just x to the second always have to go first? Because isn't that 2 minus negative 2x? Isn't that a positive?
That will be.
Yeah.
I'm distributing.
2 minus negative 2x.
Why?
Why wouldn't you have to multiply it?
I'm distributing the negative 1 first. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
So the negative 1 is going through.
Yeah, and then you can simplify it.
So we'll have negative x squared plus 4x minus 1 equals 3. We can consolidate. It's quadratic, so we can bring everything over to one side. We'll be looking at negative x squared plus 4x minus 4 equal to 0. Now, I'm not in love with that negative x squared. What could I do?
Divide or multiply by negative 1.
Divide or multiply by negative 1. So we're looking at x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0.
4.
Now this is factorable.
X plus 1 is minus 1?
We're going to get to a 4, right?
Wait, what?
X minus 2, x minus 2. Set each of those factors equal to 0. And we're going to get two solutions, but they'll both be the same. X equals 2, x equals 2. So I only need to write it once. But it is possible I could have more than one possible x value, in which case I might have more than one intersection. So that could be problematic. All right. Now, what I also want to do is figure out the y value that goes along with this x value. All right, so we now know, so therefore x is equal to 2. You don't have to use the therefore symbol, but, I mean, you wouldn't be as cool as the person who does use it, so that's the obvious. So we have 2x minus y equals 3.
4.
You have, I'm opting to use this equation. We have two equations to choose from to figure out the y that goes along with x. This one looks easier, in my opinion.
You could do both.
You can do either one, you'll get the same answer. It's just, you probably want to choose the one that's easier for you. All right, so
4.
Oh, you get y equals 1, and this equals 1, and that's the solution.
exactly.
Yes,
So
sir.
4 minus y equals 3. Y equals 1. I mean, you get to a point when you see something like this. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. Sometimes common sense, outweighs algebraic ability. I mean, because technically to get a solution for this, you should subtract a fourth and divide by negative 1. But it's really asking you, 4 minus what equals 3? common sense, right? Like, you can do all that extra work if you want, but I'll tell you right now, my son's in 3rd grade, and he's already answering algebra problems of this variety.
That's because his dad's.
Well, I don't have control over the curriculum. He's capable of successfully answering them because I'm awesome. Yeah. But they don't learn, like, double distributing and things like that.
I don't think we learned algebra in 3rd grade. No, we did.
You probably learned basic algebra like that. 4 minus box equals 3.
Oh.
That's algebra. You know, it's symbolic manipulation. So the solution is the x value and the y value together. So 2 comma 1. But again, we know, the cool way to write it, x, y, such that 2, 1. All right.
Doctors are not.
Anyway, I haven't showed you the calculator shortcut yet. Yeah, you're like, oh, I thought that was the shortcut.
Need to know for the test.
What's that?
Is this what we'll have to know for the test? Like
You-
this shortcut.
You're gonna have to know this concept. You're gonna have to know how to figure out the solution to an algebraic system. But if it's a multiple choice question, then you can use any technique. And let me show you the better way to do it if you have a choice in those situations.
Every
All
time
right.
you say show your work, can you just do like algebra or on the calculator?
Calculator, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. So